want to welcome you. I'm Julie Ellen Davis. On behalf of the Preservation Society, we want to welcome you to come out tonight, or this morning, or this afternoon, I'm sorry. But we are so excited because we have a full house. Isn't this amazing? I know we were hoping for a clear sky with no rain, but we forgot to pray for no wind. This is a special time, and we want to thank the people that have been very helpful in helping us to make this happen. Would like to thank the board of the Preservation Society, and as well as our interim executive director. If you could stand, the board members that are here, and as well as our interim executive director. I know we have some board members here, and we welcome you and thank you. Thank you. And then we have the Jenkins family. We have them out in full force here. If you could stand up, because I think most of you are together, but some of you may not be. And we have first, second, third generation of them here. The children, and we have grandchildren. Isn't this wonderful? Thank you. And thank you for your support. And we also want to thank Fielding Funeral Home, who was active out here this morning at 9:30 putting up these tents. And we have Judge Bernard Fielding here with his wife in the audience there. And thank you. And we also want to thank the Thomas Pinckney Alliance, which is part of the Preservation Society, and they're here. If you could stand up. Great. Thank you. And you'll hear more about them later in the program. So what we want to do is say that this is a special day, and we have speakers that will be coming forth to speak more about Esau Jenkins and the purpose of this occasion and what is going to be happening next. But one of the quotes that Esau made that I read, which I thought was really inspirational, was look upward and do something better. He was an amazing example of a man who was just not thinking of himself, but giving of himself to help others who cared. And it's a model for all of us to live by today. So we were so excited about this occasion, and we're going to be even more excited when we get through hearing all about Esau Jenkins. So we're going to go ahead and start with our prayer with Gerald Mackey. He can come forward.
Good afternoon. Let us pray. Eternal God, our Creator, the God of our ancestors, we beseech your divine presence upon this gathering this afternoon. We ask your blessings on this historic occasion as we pause not only to celebrate the life and work of the late Esau Jenkins and other civil rights giants, past and present, but also to commemorate their struggles. We thank you for their courage in the face of danger, their steadfast commitment to the cause, and their many sacrifices, including paying the ultimate sacrifice, as they work untiringly for freedom, justice, and equality for the marginalized and disenfranchised in their community and in a country that boasts of being the greatest democracy in the world. Out of the gloomy past, we stand proudly today, offering thanks for the progress that we have made as a race, as your people, and as a country. Fill us now, dear Lord, with your love for you and for each other, because we have witnessed the progress of love and experienced the expense of hate. We thank and praise you for the love of those who made this day possible. And now, God, as we prepare to preserve a piece of Johns Island's history, we ask that you hear our prayer, incline your ear to us, and grant us thy peace. Amen.
Greetings, everybody. My name is Millicent Brown, and I have been asked to just give some brief explanation, description, if you will, about the occasion. And I really want to say that there are many occasions actually being commemorated today, not just one. And so bear with me just for a couple of minutes while I share with you what I think are some many things that are really happening today. The honoree and his accomplishments will be properly described by others later in the program. I would like, however, to say, and just take personal privilege with this, and give a thank you to the Jenkins family from the J. Arthur Brown family. We have about 3 generations present today. My sisters, nieces, nephews are with me. You see, J. Arthur Brown and Esau Jenkins went back a long way in this community. But as children, my sisters and I, growing up in the city, were privileged. We had a lot of very educated people around us, and we learned a lot of things. But Mr. Jenkins came into our lives very early and taught us the difference between formal education and wisdom. And our family has always felt that Mr. Esau Jenkins was one of the wisest people we ever had the pleasure of knowing. And it meant a difference to how we developed as people and as human rights activists, all of us. So let me say, from our family to your family, he had a special role in a lot of people's development. And we thank you for sharing him with us. There's another context that I want to explore, and that is, in my profession as a historian, I've spent many years trying to embrace, understand, and share. There is no end to the past. People, experiences, documents, artifacts bring unacknowledged voices into the forefront and assure us that old narratives can and must be reinterpreted. Those left out must now be included in history if history is based on truth. The co-sponsor of this program, the Thomas Mayhem Pinckney Alliance, it's a subcommittee of the Preservation Society of Charleston, but its very existence is an indication that our community is growing up. And we're welcoming different perspectives and different players into the telling of our local history. The Alliance started a short while ago in calling for a continued honoring not only of the buildings of Charleston, but also the builders of our surroundings. And that appreciation parallels ongoing efforts to move toward a more historically accurate understanding of how we became the city, the state, and the nation that we have become. The stories and greater understanding from the local level, for example, Mr. Esau Jenkins and his colleagues, are tying into the national recognition of the Black experience with the Smithsonian soon-to-be constructed African American Museum in Washington, D.C. And certainly there is anticipation of the international experience of exploited human beings, as this very site on which we sit and stand today is to house the International African American Museum right here in Charleston. We beg you, please stay informed and involved in making this a reality. Therefore, all of us can walk away today encouraged by the opportunities we have to keep correcting history, including more participants, recognizing the need to put aside romantic notions of the human condition. While often defined by hardship, yes, It is only our honesty in looking at the past will we surely make the future a lot easier to bear and even to improve. Thank you so much for being with us today.
I have jotted down some things here because I don't want to be up here just randomly trying to talk about my dad. Esau Jenkins, I should say. But it's hard for me to say Esau Jenkins because I never called him Esau Jenkins. But one of the things that I can always remember about him was that he was quite religious. No nonsense. And he would go mine. One of the things that I want to cover with you today is he was born, and his parents were Peter Jenkins and Eva Jenkins. Eva Jenkins was the mother of Esau Jenkins, the only child, and at the age of 8, or before his 9th birthday, she died. And when she died, a couple of years later, my granddaddy remarried. And the person that he remarried to was had 2 boys. They were a little younger than my dad, but in my dad's head, he seemed to be getting all of the hard work. So what he did to his father was, said, I think I'm going to have to move out because I don't want to create no problem here with these people. So he moved to Mr. Horace Richardson and Miss Sarah Richardson. And he stayed there for a short while, but he didn't stay there that long. Then he moved for a cousin in the city of Charleston. And he stayed in Charleston and he started working on a boat, potato boat we used to call it, because he used to come leave from the Clyde line and come to Johns Island and other places and pick up potato and bring them back to the city. And he was a deckhand on that boat. But after he finished cleaning up the boat, whatever he had to do as a deckhand, he would go downstairs where the engine room was. And he would sit down there and notice what this man in the engine room was doing. And after a period of time, he got to the place and told that he could do a lot of stuff that this man was doing. So one day the gentleman took sick, and when he took sick, the skipper of the boat said that we can't go out today because we don't have an engineer. So my daddy said, I knew I could back this boat up, pull it ahead. So he said, go down there and try it. Daddy went on there and he just reverse it. He reverses it. Pull it ahead. He pulled it ahead. He called to the crew and said, let's go. We got an engineer, so let's go. So he worked there for a while and he stayed there until one day it was real cloudy. And the storm was so bad that the boats couldn't go out. So they all, the crew, and many other crews that was on those potato boats, they went to the market right down there. But then, you know, that's where all the people on the island used to bring their produce to sell. There was a lady, they had a bushel of plum. In that bushel of plum, she said, I have a doctor's appointment. Please, give me 75 cents for this bushel of plum. And I'm going into detail of this because this is thing that I think that turned his whole life around. He said he wasn't trying to speculate on that bushel of plum. He got sorry for the lady. So he gave the lady $1, I think he gave for that bushel of plum. And the lady had some bags to put the plum in and a quart measuring piece. But in his word, he said, I made more of that bushel of plum than I made for a day's work on that boat. So I never went back on the boat. And from that, he started hustling out of the market. And when he started hustling out of the market, he learned a little Greek from the gentleman downstairs when he was going down there. He knew a little bit of Greek. Then he went and took some lessons from one of the Greeks on one of those cornerstones. And after he took a little bit of Greek, he started hustling up that market. And anytime you see one of those Greeks with the corner stores come by, he would say, Papa, ela do português. No one else knew what he was saying, but he knew. And all of a sudden, people started wanting to come down there to see this black Greek. So he said, while you're here, he said, why are y'all coming down here trying to buy stuff? And you can give me your order and I can drop it off to your store. And after a while, I think he worked through that. He had got enough, I would say, business from them that he buys another truck. He had an old 37 Dodge truck. And he started hustling on the market and then time doing his father, by that time was remarried and from Mr. Horace Richardson, who raised my dad a little bit. They bought 7 acres of property. And he gave my daddy 3 acres and he took 4. And we started doing some small farming on it. From that small farming, then they went on to try to do things that help people, and in doing that, in 1948, when the Progressive Club started, a man got shot on the bus for a dog. And this is what turned his life toward helping people. And in helping people, then the word got to the market where he was, that the young man from Johnstown got shot by a man with a dog. And he and his brother-in-law went to the hospital and gave him some blood. He didn't die, but Bill will give us some more about this later on. But after the death of his mother and the storm and the bushel of plum, he got married at the age of 17. Mama wasn't quite 17 yet, but she was almost there. But as a father, you have to know that if you go out on Saturday night and come back on Sunday morning, and you know before you go to church, you have to know what the lesson was for that day. And get out there and conduct Sunday school. That's at least the first 4 of us. Somebody had to conduct that Sunday school every Sunday morning before we go to service. And you just don't come up there and figure you're going to read it quick. And with the question he's going to ask you, he'll know whether you read it or not, whether you studied your lesson or not. And from that, he was so close to the kids and mama. He even told us to go into the you didn't say go into the wilderness, because I don't want to bring in all this other stuff. But what he was saying to us, that you have to put a stand down someplace. And people ask me all types of questions. So how could you send all these kids to school and you only have a 4th grade education? But he said that, I said, what's your voodoo? I said, my voodoo was talking to God. He said, I talk to God, I go in my corner and I talk to God, and I don't have no voodoo. All my voodoo is set up some golden objectives and try to live up to it. And that's what he did. And he took time out from his busy schedule. I have to go back to Mama a little bit. Mama had 13 kids. And of those 13 kids, I'm the second child, not the first. The first child didn't make it. But I'm the second child, and Elaine is the 13th child. So you could see that he didn't have much time to have a boy here. But he always had time for the mama and the children. And as a businessman, he ended up with 4 buses and 3 trucks, the restaurant and the motel on Spring Street, and the motel and restaurant on the beach, in Atlantic Beach. And with those business piece, he said to many people, because people they got on him because he was bringing some white folks down to the beach, Atlantic Beach, and they want to know what he's doing bringing white folks down. He caught hell from black folks and white. But he said that he's not living just to satisfy people. He lived to please himself and how he thinks God would have him to be. And that's what he did. He had a small truck farm. He was going by after people finished the field. People go in there and ask them, put up your ice. Until you start turning the crop over, could I go in the field? And we would go out there and take watermelon and all this stuff out of the field and bring it down here to the market. And during this time, he was still had some civics responsibilities. So he started the Progressive Club in 1948, the Citizens Committee in 1959, the Credit Union in 1966, and just a little bit on the Credit Union here. He went to testify in Washington about some of the problems he was having on John Brown trying to educate the people and all this stuff. And he said, in order for me to get where I'm at, I had to borrow some expensive money. I didn't have any trade where I could go to the bank and say, let me have a couple of $1,000, because they wouldn't let me have it. I didn't have no credit with any bank. So he had to go to his friends who had enough to feed him that would let him borrow. And one friend of his was let him borrow some money, and that's where he got the first bus, the first truck. Then from that he ended up with 2 more trucks and 3 more buses. And that's when we started taking people from Charleston to Atlantic Beach, because there was no beach around here that black folks could go to. The Sensible Beach in Emory, we started going up to Atlantic Beach for 115 miles from here. There's no Atlantic Beach is that. And we started doing that. Then the credit union, we came in 1966, we started the credit union. And when we started the credit union, this came out of that expensive money. Because he said the Citizens Committee of Charleston County will be the organization that was responsible for the credit union. And they haven't ever heard of the civic organization got a credit union on that side. But somehow it worked because he got it. And it's still working today. Then Rule Mission. Rule Mission started because of Mrs. Janie Howe. Mrs. Janie Howe wanted to do something on the island for migrants. And she went to Miss Mamie Field and asked her if, how could we start something on the island, especially John's Island, for the migrants. And Miss Mamie Field said, if you're going to John's Island, you need to see Esau Jenkins. So he went to John's Island and saw Esau Jenkins. And what the daddy told him was that what the migrants are experiencing for 3 months, the people that they have experienced for 40 years. If we're going to do anything, then it has to be for everybody, not just the migrants. Yet the house said, yeah, we need a mission program then, not just. The daddy said, well, you're in the rural area, so why don't you call it Rural Mission? And from that, Rural Mission got started. Rural Mission got started, and Cassandra said he was the personnel person on Rural Mission. And he's the one who gave me my job at Rural Mission. Because I put in an application, I just came back from Vietnam. And I had 6 months to go in the service. So I got into service in 1 July 1971 and started working at Rural Mission 1 August 70. After me was then Jim Martin and some more other people came on. And that's when my daddy resigned from Rural Mission so that I can get the job. And I always appreciate it because I could stay home. Then after that it was the Sea Island Healthcare Company. 1971, we started with 4 people. And with those 4 people, we got chartered in the health center in 1972, in February. He died in 1972 in October. And when he died at the McLennan Bank Hospital. He had just the burnout feeling, he could tell you, because the feeling was his lawyer. And they were trying to find out what happened to him between here and going to Tennessee. And after his death, I'm not going to go talk about it. After his death, he got the Rural Mission became known as the Esau Jenkins Opportunity Center by the Bishop of the South Carolina Conference back in 1973. Habitat for the Humanity named a street after Esau Jenkins, Esau Jenkins Boulevard on John's Island. Then a bridge by the state legislature. This is about all I can do with today, but there's so much I could say that I didn't say. But I want to thank the Preservation Society and all the people associated with it for the help they give us in trying to get this done. And also, may God bless you and have a good day.
I'm Bill Saunders, and I'm going to sort of talk a little bit more on what Bill Jenkins was just talking about. From John's Island, Mr. Esau Jenkins, and of course, we got to the point, when you know that you've really done well in the black community, they start calling you by your first name and Mr. And we start calling Mr. Esau. And most of folks that have done well end up being that the last name gets dropped. Mr. Esau was a believer in God, but he was also a follower of Jesus. And so many of us people that we believe in God and we worship Jesus, we're not a follower of Jesus, because you got to put your life and everything you got on the line every day, everywhere you go, everywhere you go. And that's where he was. He was always out there doing stuff with people. He did a lot of things. Somebody mentioned earlier about some of the stuff he came with, but he did to a group of others telling us what the definition of politics. He said the definition of politics is the art of compromise. And brothers and sisters, ladies and gentlemen, we have lost that totally today. Politics, the art of compromise. Now the Republicans don't talk to the Democrats, they stay separate, and right here in Charleston, we don't have any of those things. And again, he did so many things. I wanted to talk a little bit of just about the man, because he was able to make things change without even getting caught up with a lot of stuff that people do today. He would go to meetings and be 100 people there, and he was sitting there for 2 hours, the meeting go on, but when he got up to talk, everybody listened. You got a little settlement, you can go on home, something is happening. And he did everything that he did, Bill, he talked about, he was doing it for his people. No matter where he was, I'm doing this, my people don't have this, my people don't have that, my people could have the right to register to vote. And I want to just give you a few minutes of me, because I got out of the Army in 1954. I spent 3 years in the Army, got mistreated worse than I ever been mistreated in my life in the United States Army. Really got mistreated and got wounded, and went into the Greyhound bus station in Columbia to buy a ticket, and a cop came at me with a gun, tell me, boy, you don't belong in here. And I didn't know that I didn't have a right to go into the Greyhound bus station. So when I left the Army, I was very angry, mad, and wanted to do some stuff. And that's how I met back up with Mr. Esau, because he used to teach me in Sunday school. And I met with him and what he was doing with voter registration and teaching people how to read and write. And as Bill mentioned in the beginning, but the only way that we from Johns Island and Waterloo Island could go to Burke High School, because it was against the law for us to go to St. John's High School on Johns Island. So Mr. Esau had the bus that took us to school. All of those, and Mr. Esau had a truck that brought us to wood at the school, because our school, we didn't have any heating system, we didn't have any lights. So everything that went on, he did, even up to the point of building the Hotshot, now a little school, but Hotshot High School. So he was involved in everything. And in 1956, he ran for the school board on Johns Island and came so quick. This is District 9 school board. And ladies and gentlemen, in 1956 and 1970, he didn't hold another election. They stopped having elections. To this day, brothers and sisters, I don't know how the hell to stop having elections. But they did it. And a lot of folks get angry at me and call me militant and stuff, but these folks did anything they wanted to do, anytime they wanted to do. And the only reason that changed is that we decided we were going to have a school board of our own, that they then put 3 blacks in the school board. Then they put Mr. Esau Jenkins and Ted Williams from Waterloo Island on the board. So, but he was always in the forefront of most everything that was going on. And he was a guy that I could just sit with, and we could talk about. We planned that progressive stuff. Was really a planning meeting. Bill talked about the high price money. When we needed $5,000 to build this. Everywhere he ran in the country, my people don't have no way to play ball. We can't skate. We can't do any of those stuff, and we need help. The white lady showed us that I'll match the money that y'all raised. And that's how we got in this progressive stuff. He put up half of the money. We had to borrow some of the money to get it where we wanted. But again, he was able to do that. And the business part of it is unbelievable. We had that progressive club, and we had in the entertaining room, we had a jukebox. And when the folks decided that jukebox was a nickel, And then they decided that they could make go up to a dime and 3 for $4. And I had a problem with that. And I went to the Smithsonian and told him, he says, you realize how less electricity you can burn now? you realize how your money is going to be different now? And that was the end of that discussion. You know, anything that was dealing with business and those kinds of stuff. And he, again, you know, we can mention that he was one of the black leaders that really depended on his own living. Nobody came to have to come to buy him out or give him free money. He had his own business. And I want to say something that this is the second time I'm saying it because it's very important for me. He had a business partner, Janie Jenkins. But Janie Jenkins was his business partner. And they did some business stuff together that you just won't believe. You know, and she handled the money that we bought. Miss Alice Wine, who didn't have any schooling at all, but she's the treasurer. Miss Esau got in trouble because he decided that folks used to lose money on John Donne, these clubs. So nobody could keep money unless they had money. And so a lot of the family got mad at him, but folks' families could spend the money. So he said that if you ain't got enough money to replace everybody's money, you can't keep the money. I mean, a lot of people are angry, but it was the best thing. It was the best thing. Everything that he did was straight up. And he had it, you know. We ended up almost in a disagreement coming down to the end where I was a part of Stokely Carmichael and the militant folk, and he was with Dr. King. We had them both on the island at the same time. And I ended up organizing the hospital with him. And none of the SCL people in it for a while. And then Mr. Esau came. And that hospital strike would not have ended, especially at County Hospital, if it wasn't the Esau. And he had, anybody want to talk to William Austin, Reverend Austin, Mr. Esau made him, Austin take him over here, in Mount Pleasant, way up there, to this head of the county council, out 11 o'clock at night. Told the man, you will end that strike. Like people are suffering, and you will end the strike. And the strike ended. That's what happened. None of that stuff is in written form anyplace else. But that's what the thing that I wanted to do, and I got a lot of stuff that, like Bill was saying, I got a lot of stuff on Facebook. I can't read like what I do. You know, and the reason I'm saying it is I can't read is because everything that I do, and that's one of the things that came from the people, everything that I do, I feel. It's nothing that I have to dramatize, it's what I'm feeling and where I'm coming from. And some of the stuff that I got here that don't need to even be said today, but I'm grateful that all of you turned out to honor Mr. Esau Jenkins. And I am honored just to have been asked to be here. And one of the things that we used to say from the island, especially in our church service, that every time we got together might be the last time. Every time might be the last. This might be my last time to talk about it. So it's good, enjoy each other, and make sure that when you leave each other today, leave in good standing. So you can go see something good or something happens. But a lot of stuff happens. But God has been good to us. He's brought us a very, very long. And a lot of us that have survived this thing didn't even have no beginning to be there. But God brought us through all of that stuff. And that's one of the things. Our church on John Donne Refuge, I've been in the political forefront in political education, always talking about it. I was up there to listen this morning, Mikey, that we didn't touch none of the stuff that's going on, because, you know, because we're going to heaven because it's Sunday school. But normally people get involved in all of the other political stuff that's happening around the community. And you know, those are, I'm going to shut up because I get in trouble. But, you know, Millicent talked a while ago about her father. And here's another guy that really did some stuff. I mean, as he came with me at Progressive Club, not Progressive, but Cobra. And he with him and a few other guys were able to put Cobra together without a lawyer. He had access to everything. Joe Arthur Brown, we had a guy that wanted to need to come out, and his mother was in the hospital and dying, and Red Cross, and nobody couldn't get him to come. And they came to Cobra, and I put Mr. Brown on. To this day, we don't know how much Mr. Brown got that died from Italy. But within 2 days, that was home. Even some of his family got mad at him. He got mad at us because they wanted to know how we could do it and they couldn't do it. And to this day, Mr. Esau, Joe Arthur Brown, and a few of those guys, and some of those few women, Septima Clark, they could get stuff done. And you don't know how they could do it, but they touched it. And they made people feel them. And Joe Brown was going to the office. Some of them folks just sit there and do what he wanted done. And he wouldn't go out at all, he just stay there. And a lot of folks, we had none of that. And I'm hoping that we're going to have to get back to what needs to be done. And we're doing a lot of celebration, but we're not doing nothing. And we're drifting away from the old landmark. And we have to go back to that.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon. It is such a privilege for me to be here, and also a privilege for me to come and be speaking right after Mr. Bill Saunders, one of my favorite people. You didn't know I was going to be here, did you? I came to surprise you. And I'm here representing the Smithsonian National Museum of African American History and Culture, where I serve as a research and program specialist. And I've been there for about 15 months now. And I look out into see faces and see so many familiar faces, and I'm so glad to be back home. And when I heard that we were acquiring parts of this bus during a collections committee meeting, they said that they want to have a little program with a send-off, and they'd like someone to come down. And I think I had my hands in the air before they even finished asking. So I wanted to tell you a little bit about the Smithsonian National Museum of African American History and Culture, and then tell you a little bit about how these parts of the band will be used. There are few things as powerful and as important as a people steeped in its history. For hundreds of years, African Americans have contributed immeasurably to the history and culture of our nation, and yet those contributions have not been given the recognition they deserve until now. With the founding of the Smithsonian's National Museum of African American History and Culture, the African American experience will be celebrated in all its richness, complexity, in a place of honor on the National Mall. Sports and athletics have been an important part of the African American story and will be featured in the museum. In addition, we will also focus on the contributions made by African Americans in many fields of endeavor, including science, education, the arts, music, government, and social policy, and more. This museum will be a beacon of learning and inspiration, of remembrance and understanding, a place that stimulates a dialogue about race, and an environment that fosters a spirit of reconciliation and healing as we look forward to the future. There are 4 pillars upon which this museum stands. Number 1, creating an opportunity for those who care about African American history and culture to explore and revel in its history. Number 2, using African American history and culture as a lens through which to see what it means to be an American. Number 3, telling the African American story in an international context. And number 4, serving as a place of collaboration, supporting and encouraging the work of other museums, as the International African American Museum and the Old Slave Mart Museum, the work of other museums and educational institutions. The Smithsonian National Museum of African American History and Culture will be acquiring 2 rear hatch doors, one of the luggage area and the other to the engine compartment. We are particularly taken with Mr. Jenkins' motto on the door, hate is expensive, love is progress. The remainder of the bus will be left with the Jenkins family. The doors will be included in an exhibition entitled Defending Freedom, the Era of Segregation, 1878 to 1968. This will be a permanent exhibition. Once the museum opens in late 2015, early 2016, the story of Esau Jenkins and the Progressive Club will be presented in a section covering the post-World War II attempts by African Americans to gain political power and improve their conditions. After hundreds of thousands of African Americans served in World War II, they returned to find a nation that still did not treat them as full citizens, meriting the rights and treatment according to other citizens. And Defending Freedom, Defending Freedom is one of 3 exhibitions providing a chronological history of the African American freedom struggle from the 17th century to the present. The museum will include 8 additional permanent exhibitions on special topics such as military service, the visual arts, music, and regional experiences. And it will also feature an exhibit called Cultural Expressions, which I am co-curating. So I'd like to thank you for inviting me here today and say thank you especially to the family and to the association and the Preservation Society of Charleston for this wonderful donation. We will care for it and interpret it to the best of our ability, and I hope to see you in a couple of years at the exhibition where it will be on display. Thank you so much.
Esau Jenkins talking, who have known these people for years, have known the tribulation, have known the ups and downs. Every December on the 24th, they have what we call a Christmas watch night meeting here in the Moving Star Hall. They know the tune, they're ready to shout. They're giving praise to the great Supreme Being who have stood by them in past days from slavery up to this present. Right here tonight, they will be singing from 12 o'clock until Christmas morning. Just to hear these songs remind us of our hardship. Those songs are the ones that made them happy, made them go through those hard days, the days when they didn't have a place to live of their own, didn't have a piece of land of their own, and living on a plantation. These people are hard-pressed people, and they're optimistic enough to believe that the better days are coming. When they get into these religious shouts, they feel so happy that that's all they can do but shout. The notion will go into their hands and to their feet and start clapping, and you can't keep them sitting. And not when they start clapping, rather. They feel so happy that they got to shout. People 60 years and 70 years old clap and shout and jump all over the floor without falling down. Oh.
I ain't want nobody for more. All I want, my friends, is just to fold my dying eyes. Oh, well, 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 die easy. Well, 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 let me die easy. Well, 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 to die easy. Jesus will make up my dying bed. I'm going down to the river. I'm gonna stick Meet me with another girl. Well, 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 I'm dying. Well, 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 Lord, let me die. Well, 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 I'm to die. Oh, Jesus, will make up my dying bed. Long in my time. Yeah. Oh yeah, come on down. I ain't want nobody for more. All I want my friends to do is just to pull my dying out. Oh, well, well, well. I want to die. Well, well, well. Let me die. Well, well, well. Jesus, will make up my dying bed.
Well, this has been quite a celebration. This has been a momentous occasion with our speakers. We want to thank everyone, Millicent Brown, Abraham Jenkins, Bill Saunders, Nicole Green from coming down from Washington, the Mount Zion Spiritual Singers. Thank you. And also our prayer from Mr. Mackey. Thank you everyone for coming. Now we're going to have refreshments, but we wanted to point out to you that in the back table we have pictures that have been mounted, as well as a board that has a picture with a framer on it where you can sign if you want to have it be a part, your presence being noted. So that's also available for you to sign. We want you to sign in. We have a sign-in sheet over there on the clipboards because we will be having future events that you'll want to know about. So we seem to do really well with the social media and also emails. So please do sign in if you have an email. If you don't have an email, it's okay. Go ahead and put your address down. So thank you again for everyone for coming. Now we can fellowship with each other. Thank you.